reasons which will be elaborated by either myself or another speaker and introducer. To begin that program, I would like to call to the front Tom Ruzicka and Judy Ruzicka and have them stand here.
Well, hey.
And neither of you have to make a speech, so you don't need to be apprehensive about that.
Go to
We are asking Judy to join Tom because at this point we are asking her to be the representative of all of the spouses of all of you here today, and I'll make another comment about that a little later. Our first recipient of the Zeller Award, though, is Tom Ruzicka. He's been a member of this club for 43 years. He's worked continuously without fanfare or without calling attention to himself through the years, and he has participated in almost every youth-oriented activity in this club, both raising money and distributing funds to assist children. He has served on the board of directors of the club and the board of directors of the foundation. As the president of the foundation, he brought special insight to the Youth Services Committee, which he has served on for so many, many years. And that brought greater understanding to the issues addressed by that club and the distribution of funds from it. In youth services, he's been our representative to many agents through the years, and every time we lost a member or representative, he has stepped forward to volunteer again and pick up whatever slack was present. In the Eliminate program, we asked him to be here first because almost a year ago, after the special program in November, Tom stepped forward and quietly told several of us that he would like to make a major contribution this year in some way to the Eliminate project if we could find a way where that could be done. He was, in that sense, the first member to step forward for a special contribution, and when the club announced that we would have a matching Zeller program this year where the member could contribute $625 and the club would match that with $625, Tom was the first person to step forward and make that contribution. So he is the member who will receive the Zeller Award. But in doing so, we want to recognize that neither Tom nor any one of you could do what you do for this club in terms of your humanitarian interest and your contributions to youth, in your service at taking basketball, baseball, whatever tickets. The support of the spouse is every bit as important as you. And so we are acknowledging not only the family of Kiwanis, we are acknowledging the family of the members of our Kiwanis. And in this case, Judy is representing all of the spouses of all of you for her love and support and continuing contributions through her spouse to this particular club. So it's a special pleasure to award for our president to present the medal, but we would like in this case for Judy to be the person who puts that on his neck and thus recognize the contribution of spouses. Thank you, Judy and Tom. They are receiving the medallion, a special small medallion that can be placed on a table or desk, and a certificate recognizing their joint contribution. like to ask Camilla to stand beside me and tell you that as the various groups worked for the recognition of the people who will be recognized here today, Camilla surfaced almost immediately as one of the persons who would be most deserving of an honorary membership and a Zeller Fellow. Before that could be accomplished, however, Camilla stepped forward and was also a matching Zeller recipient this year. Camilla is a member who works continuously without fanfare or calling any attention to herself. She's been a major leader in our club. She served as her president of this club within 10 years of her joining the organization. She's also been a major participant in a generation of and raising funds for all of our youth-oriented activities, especially in the last few years. Her service on the Eliminate Committee, the Playground Committee, and our Board of Directors has been especially important. And even though she may not chair an activity, she has more ideas and more enthusiasm than any other member, and she works tirelessly to achieve the goals of whatever program she's involved with. In addition, she has for many, many years been our liaison to the Circle K Club at Purdue. Their members love her, and it is through their respect for her that they willingly participate in a number of our fundraising activities of this club, and it is a very mutually beneficial experience. She was the second member to step forward when the Eliminate Committee recommended and the board approved these matching funds. And so it is a privilege to recognize Camilla's contribution to the club, to the Eliminate Project, and award her with a Zeller medallion.
Very, very
Yes. We will later ask all of the recipients of the awards today to remain for some photographs at the end of the program. Next, I'd like to ask Jim Hof to approach the podium and make a presentation.
Thank you, Billy. I would like to ask Jerry Schmier to come forward, please. Jerry Jr.
well.
Many of you may not know that Jerry moved to Lafayette about 4 years ago, as a compromise to his wife Mary, who she really wanted to go to Chicago, which was her home area. And as a compromise, Jerry decided to move to Lafayette, which is the Midwest and close enough to Chicago, right, Jerry?
2.5 hours.
Okay. So anyhow, he's been a member since January 2012. Jerry was an extension agronomist in California for many years. He's retired, obviously. But while he was in California, he attended school at California State University in Chico. Does everybody know where Chico is?
Yes. It's Sierra Nevada Brewery.
Okay. It is north of Sacramento, about an hour. Is that right? And Jerry, while he was there, he earned a certificate in information technology. He was actually in an MBA program, and he completed 28 of 32 hours, but he didn't want to take accounting again, so he just stopped with the 28 hours. But Jerry has stepped forward in the last year as our club secretary and has just done wonderful things for the board. And he's developed a new accounting system for the club where he's doing what he calls enterprise accounting. So when checks are written now, we actually have a record of them at the time they're written rather than waiting until somebody cashes them. So we know where we're at all the time. And the other thing about Jerry, he will very humbly admit he learns something new, a new report he's supposed to file almost every week in the job. And so he is learning as he goes. And Jerry, we just appreciate everything you're doing. And I hope you stay around for secretary at least 2 years till I'm finished as president, because I don't know what I'd do without you. So, Jerry, it gives us great pleasure to present a Zeller Award to you.
How nice. How nice.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jerry. And now I'd like to call another Jerry to the podium, Jerry Schmaltz.
Good job. Good job.
Let me come around the back.
Thank you, Billy. Could I please have Lynn Heiser step forward? Well, Lynn?
Well,
Lynn quietly sits back in the back of that room there, and nobody ever knows that he's there. But you know, Lynn's been a member of this club, I think, for about 16 years now, right? Quite a while. He's been a treasurer here for us for several years. And you know, he attends almost every meeting on Wednesday, or Thursday. We're here on Thursday.
yeah.
I'm getting older, you know. He's also at every board meeting, and he is involved literally with every function that goes on in this club. When we have our fundraisers for our pancake, he's involved because he has to handle the money. When we sell tickets for the football games, he's involved because he has to handle the money. Everything we do here circles around, and Lynn Heiser is involved in it. And you know, he does this day after day after day, and nobody ever hears a word out of him. He just does it, and does a tremendous job. He does things day in, day out that we never consider, you know. He quietly performs his duties. He maintains all of our bank accounts, and that's 2 checking accounts and a CD. He makes sure that our extra money goes into that CD, so it earns just a little bit of cash for us, and it is just a little bit of cash. He maintains our checkbooks in just immaculate condition. You can go to him anytime, look at that checkbook, and it's going to be up to date and it's going to be balanced. He does a very good job at that. He interacts with our secretary. Whenever a bill needs to be paid, he writes a check, and he signs a check, but he also has to get one other officer to sign that check, and he also has to get the secretary's approval to use that check. So it's not just a matter of writing a check and paying a bill. He's got to make sure the process is all properly done, and he does an excellent job at that. He creates monthly reports every month for the board meetings. First part of every month, he creates a report of the spending in the accounts for the previous month, and that's not always easy either, because the bank doesn't always cooperate in getting him the statements when he needs them in order to make those reports. So oftentimes, he's very late making those reports up so he can have it for that Tuesday morning meeting. He prepares the annual budgets, which is not an easy thing to do. I know he spends quite a bit of time going over that list and going over that list and going over it again and fixing things and moving cash around, trying to make it work, and he makes it work every year. He never fails. He makes sure all of our taxes are properly filed. There's several forms that have to be filed. And I know at one time he set up filling out a big, long form. I don't know if he still has to do that or not, but he does it, and they never come back, so they must be okay. And we're still here. So he makes sure all that's done. He makes sure there's always somebody around at the end of every year, and he works with them, gives somebody all the documents they need to do a financial review, to check his books and his secretary's books, to make sure all the finances are in order. And every year they're in order. So we really need to appreciate Lynn for what he does. And he sits back there quietly, he never, and you know what? All the time I worked with Lynn, I never once heard him complain about what he had to do or what had to be done. He just does it. He's not like me, I complain every day. But he just does his job and does a fantastic job. So Lynn, it's really my pleasure to represent the club in awarding this Zeller Award to you.
And now I would thank you. And now I'd like to invite our past president, Gail Beck, to the podium.
I didn't do a very good job of preparing what I'm going to say, so I'll be doing this off the cuff. But I'm pleased to be able to offer this year a presidential Zeller to Taka Ogata. And and he obviously didn't know this was happening. A presidential Zeller recognizes someone who was president during the Eliminate campaign. Taka was on the Eliminate committee, as he was in every other committee with the exception of youth services. What was interesting in Taka's tenure here, which is brief, when did you join, Taka? 3 years ago. 3 years ago he joined and is now your president. And he also, I asked him one day, I said, I'm terrible with ages, how old are you? And he said 45, and I thought, I have clothes older than 45, but that's okay. He came in and with enthusiasm took a look around, and I liken it to the standard bearer. You know, sometimes you are in positions where things are not going quite the way that you want them to, and that's what we encountered in the beginning of the year, where we lost two of our folks that were on the executive committee. And even before that, he had agreed to become a vice president, with his only concern being his international travel, and would that be problematic? And we said, no, there'll be people there to stand for you. But he came in, and when he saw the problems that were happening, and even before that, he became the standard bearer. If someone said this needs to be done, he was there. Sometimes he saw things online at Kiwanis International that we should be doing, and started to create it. He really has transformed this organization through his efforts in the last only 3 years. So we have a good standard bearer. You're going to have an excellent president, and I'm very pleased to award the Presidential Zeller to Taka Ogata. I'm going to ask you. I've got to come around here somehow. Let me see how I can do.
Good job.
Oh, oops, I'm still attached. There we go. I should have learned that by now. So congratulations, Taka. We are pleased to have you be our representative. Thank you. And there you go. I'm going to take a picture. Are we good, Jim?
Got it.
Thank you, and congratulations again. We have one more special award to present, but the recipient of that could not be here today, and so that will be made next week. But this will be our last major activity as an Eliminate committee before the club. The program will extend through the remainder of this year. The Eliminate cans will continue to circulate. We will continue to raise money selling cards, and it is possible that we may have additional awards yet this year. But at the moment, this is our last major program. And so what the Eliminate Committee would like to do is to really recognize the most important component of the entire Eliminate project, and that is you, each and every one of you. In the last 3 years, this club has raised over $15,000 in the support of the Eliminate project. That is 8,333 mothers and children whose lives you have saved. Janet, and it took a lot of effort. Janet Ainsworth initiated this as president-elect almost 4 years ago, when she organized and was a co-presenter in the first program on tetanus before this group. As president, she appointed the first Eliminate Committee, so that was a very important step. Leaders like Jim Hof and Wes Love led the special contributions effort by becoming full-fledged Zeller members 2 years ago. Jairus Eikenberry, through the years, has played special music with the Eliminate jar sitting on this table, collecting money to build those funds. The Eliminate Committee had a non-existent dinner on a non-existent February date over a year ago, and it could not have been successful without the purchase of each of you for $5 a piece tickets to give to friends and relatives and further promote the Eliminate Project and inform the community of what we're doing. The Eliminate jars have been passed down the table every week for some time, and those pennies and nickels and dimes amount to significant funds over time. Camilla Lawson found an old slop jar that she renamed the Eliminate Bucket and put on the back of the room. So as you left the room, if you still had any change in your pocket, you could contribute to the Eliminate Bucket. Your purchase of the photo cards over the last couple of years, which have a set with animals and a separate set from flowers and plants photographed by Sam Postaway, have contributed significantly to this fund. So it is your willingness to continuously support the effort and the special contributions made by individual members, the opportunity to recognize significant contributions by the awards which you have seen presented this year and in previous years. The decision by your board to look at the funding and see if there were areas in which some additional funds could be added to the Eliminate project. All of those deserve special recognition, but the most special recognition is what you give yourselves as members of this club, individually and collectively. So we would like to have you all stand and give yourself a tremendous round of applause. Thank you each and every one.
Good job, Billy.
And thank you for all you're doing.